everybody. I am Tommy. No, I didn't even, there we go. Sorry. Boy, oh boy, man. You would think I'm new at this. And you might be right. I'm Tommy and you are on the Love Boat. What's happening, peeps? Missed you last night. My neck was, I worked on a computer for hours. I got a 5x5. We're working with new equipment here. We're bummed out about the new equipment if you want to know the truth. I missed my old equipment already. Let's see. Who do we got? Sandy, Wandy, Susie, good to see you. What's happening? Brock Bandy, how are you? Sandy, Wandy, Lilac, Lime, Amy, good to see you. Winchester Super X, there you are. Look at all of those 5x5s. Mike Bragg, good to see you. So I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done. Barbara Aldrich, Joey Girl, good to see you. I bet Jane's here. Meredith Lynn, how are you? You can't prove that. Meredith Lynn, I'm glad you're here. You can't prove that. Jane, good to see you. So I don't know if you saw any cat videos today, but a little drama in the Scoville house. You know, Johnny can't seem to keep that trampy cat of his in order. I can't seem to keep mine in order either. So we're going to be talking about the artist or the predator, formerly known as Prince. The Prince Andrew thing, we did a show on it a while back, and I talked about the fact that the book that had been written by Virginia Giuffre had come out. This obviously is posthumous. She has passed away. We don't know how. They said that she killed herself. That was going on 7 months ago. We haven't heard any other details about that. They released a small excerpt of a letter that didn't sound at all like it was one of those. Let's see, I'm 2 minutes in. Screw it. It's a suicide letter. And it doesn't sound at all like one. It really sounds more like someone that was getting ready to try to take down the people that hurt her. And it's a strange thing to read the book. I did. I think that Virginia Giuffre is a hero, and she said a lot more about Prince Andrew than you would imagine. There are 88 times in that book where she talks about Prince Andrew. And I had also read a book recently by an author that made some really unusual statements about him. Hello, Ashley G. There are some unusual statements that have been made about this cat and the time he spent in Thailand. Whitby Island Girl, good to see you. Excuse me. Allegedly, over the course of a 3 or 4 day period of time, he had about 40 girls that showed up at this beautiful hotel that he was staying at. They said about 10 a day. It was on a rotation. As soon as somebody would leave, another one would come in. And a few of them might have had the wrong equipment. Did you catch that, Johnny Scoville?
I did.
I'm not being offensive this evening, but as it turns out, they might have had a lot of equipment. You know where I'm going with that, Johnny Scoville? They're sometimes called lady boys. Joyful Rachel, good to see you. I'm glad that you are here. So he's into both sexes apparently, and you know what? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Renee B, good to see you. I'm not offended that the dude lives that life. I'm really not. It's got nothing to do with me. But I'm kind of offended at the way he tried to take out Virginia Giuffre. And this is why he is no longer a prince. The evidence is starting to come out that while this cat was riding around, and I talked about this in the last time I spoke about him, but as he's being a royal, he's got some people that guard him, very much like our Secret Service would. Except these are just coppers, right? These are just cops. But they go around and they make sure that nothing bad happens to this dude. Ashley says, yes, he likes feminine boys. Yeah, and he likes them also if they happen to have a rack. Like he likes the whole, and that's the thing in Thailand. There are a lot of bars that have dancers like that, and if you're not careful, you could easily be fooled. But yes, he instructed his guards to investigate her with her social security number. This is a fact. Ashley G just nailed it. That's a big deal, folks. I'm not sure if you realize how big a deal that is. But there are laws on that side of the pond, and there are laws on this side of the pond that make that a very, very sick thing to do. To give out someone's social security number, period, right? To possess it is a problem. You shouldn't have anyone else's social. But to give it to a cop and say, I want you to go dig dirt on this girl. And he said, and I understand she's got a criminal record. He didn't care at all about any of these people. And obviously, if you're thinking to yourself, well, predators don't usually care about their victims. There's a lot of truth to that, obviously. But what this guy was doing was far worse than that. It really was. It was far worse than that. Sure, ladyboys in Thailand, very difficult, calm vibe opposed to the U.S. Yeah, it's definitely a very different vibe. I'll be honest with you, I didn't dig it. I was fairly bummed out by it. Ashley G says he and Fergie also lied about not contacting them, and she is referring to of course, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. There's a lot of stuff getting leaked, and there are people that are wondering where the leaks are coming from. In an interview, the author that kind of wrote the tell-all book on him, what is his name? Andrew Lonnie's biography, talked about a lot of stuff that made this dude look really bad. In an interview recently, he said that he assumed that the leaks are coming from Ghislaine Maxwell. And this makes sense. I mean, it passes the smell test when you first hear about it. Sorry. This makes a lot of sense when you first start hearing about it. But I think that the leaks could have come from Lonnie just as easily. I mean, this is keeping his streak going. This book is killing it, right? He's been absolutely destroying it with his book. He did a tremendous amount of research on that book. The thing is footnoted to beat hell. This is not an opinion kind of thing. It's not the kind of thing that people run with on YouTube. The name of the book is entitled. It is an absolute masterpiece because this guy spent a lot of time. Hey, Just Joan, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. He spent a lot of time researching this. He interviewed over 300 people, put a lot of time and effort into it. And I think he is heroic as well. I can't say enough about Virginia Giuffre and what she's done. If you read her entire book, there's a part in there where she says, I just want to make a dent. I would like to make a dent in the disgusting world, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but in the disgusting world that these people live in. And she's done a crap load more than putting a teeny dent in it. This is one of the most powerful people that could have been involved in this circle. This man is a prince, or he was. Now he is just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. I'm sorry. It's also coming from a journalist that is a cousin of a former prime minister from Israel. She was the only journalist allowed to speak with Maxwell. Well, in Virginia's book, she says that she was also trafficked to a former prime minister. Kind of find that to be fascinating. We don't know who that is. I'm glad. Hey, Scoob, good to see you. Barbara Wade, how are you? Scoob, I'm glad you're here, man. Good to see you. Susie says, 3/4 of the way through Virginia's book. So sad what she went through. It is. And she also says in there that her father was the first person the first predator to take advantage of her. I would like to see him get thrown in prison, if you want to know the truth. I think that would be justice. But I also think that it would be justice for the predator formerly known as Prince Andrew to do some time. Apparently, I was doing some research, and apparently when he was an eligible bachelor back in the 80s, they were calling him Randy Andy. It's a hell of a nickname there, isn't it? So, giggity. Kind of a quagmire thing going on there, Johnny Scoble. But that's enough to bum you out, right? Because if this was that much in the know, it's kind of like that Lolita Express thing, right? Lolita Express was not a nickname that came out after Jeffrey Epstein got busted. It was what everybody called his jet when he was still alive and doing his thing. I think that the tragedy of this situation is how many people knew exactly what was going on. And I think that Prince Andrew's in some trouble. Here's my prediction. I'm going to make a prediction on this. He's going to go to a non-extradition country. That's what's going to happen to this dude. In the United States of America, they have already reached out to him and said they would like him to show up. Hey, action. Glad you're here, UK. Good to have you here, Christine. Let me try that one more time. People, no touch screen anymore. Playing with the big kids. Playing with the big kids. Not enjoying it. Hi, Tommy. Glad I caught you tonight before I go to sleep. It's 1:30 or 1:13 a.m. in the UK. Damn. Try to stay awake. Well, I'll talk loud and occasionally go, and see if I can't keep you engaged. He has some money laundering issues as well. A lot of them. So, you know what, Ashley G? You should just come on here and help me. Ashley G is right. So there was a period of time over in Great Britain where he had had a position in government that allowed him to farm out an awful lot of stuff to friends who were getting rich in other countries he was visiting and setting up deals with. Amazingly, he didn't just farm this out to friends, because this is done all the time in every government. It's done in the United States, right? Crony capitalism, I believe they call it. But he was actually setting up some of his own business ventures, which is just downright disgusting. I mean, it really is. But now he is gone, right? Susan, look at this, people. I'm bad. And I'm international. Just doesn't have the same ring, does it? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that this guy could be prosecuted for, and I mean a lot. And there are some groups out there like Republic, some of the other ones that are very anti-monarchy that don't want anything. They would like to see Great Britain just flush the monarchy down the toilet. These groups are bucking hard for prosecution. The United States of America wants him to show up and answer some questions about Epstein in front of Congress. I think you got a better chance of defecating a 15-carat stone from Tiffany than that actually happening. Nevertheless, there's a lot out there, and every day we're seeing more of it. I don't think these leaks are an accident, and I hate to sound conspiratorial. I don't do that often. But if I were to don my hat, you know what? I got the best audience in all of YouTube. Swear to God, I do. Holly nails this, right? Tommy, why is it that among those getting outed and punished, none are from the U.S.? I think that this is a very, very possible. It's super possible that these leaks are probably coming from someone that would like people to stop talking about the Epstein problem within the U.S. borders. Now, I know that people are going to run with this and they're going to go, that's because Donald Trump is in those files. I promise you that does not stand up to critical thinking, right? The Democrats had these files for a really, really long time. Crossfire Hurricane was a completely made up scandal to try to destroy the president. Why not just release photos of him with kids? Like, if you got that stuff in the files, why not release it? I think, by the way, that there's a lot in those files that they don't want to release for the same reason that Ashley G just said. By the way, Holly, great take, because I agree with you. I think Mossad killed Virginia to protect the former prime minister of Israel. Well, that's a possibility. But it does look like the Mossad's got their fingerprints on a lot of this stuff. Could be wrong, right? Could be wrong. Hasn't been checked out yet. It sure as heck looks bad. Ehud Barak went to stay with Epstein in his place in New York 30 times. 30 times. It's kind of crazy that you're not going to say, good night, Susan. Thank you for spending some time with us. I really appreciate that. That's a lot. That's a lot of visits. And his response once Epstein got busted, which is really funny because it was a slap on the wrist in an epic fashion. 13 months he got in Florida for absolutely being busted with kids, right? And there were 36 victims, I believe. Ashley G, correct me on that if I'm wrong. I know you're up on this. I believe it was 36 victims. And he got 13 months. He only had to do weekends. Mom, good to see you. Joanne Adams, I'm glad you are here. He only had to do 13 months in here, so a little over a year, and he didn't have to actually stay there. He had to be there just to do the midnight run. He was doing nights and weekends, and they allowed him to leave. But it's, this was a tragedy, and they broke the law by cutting a deal with that cat before they ever talked to the victims. There's a law for that in the U.S. If you're going to put a deal out for somebody, you got to talk to the victims, talk to them about it, see how they feel about it. They found out about it in the newspaper, which is disgusting, right? I think we can all admit that. But the worst part of that deal, if you actually read it, is this is a deal that's never been given to anybody before, I promise you. This is a guy that was a sex offender, and they gave him a deal where no one who was a co-defendant, named or unnamed, was ever going to be prosecuted for this. Doesn't make any sense. Unless Epstein was working for us, or he was working for an ally that we would look really bad if we outed him. And we are pretty tight with the Mossad, right? 13 out of 18 months. Well, here's the thing. If you're going to do 18 months, if they give you 18 months, 13's right. You know what I mean? The good time would get you about that off. But what's really disgusting is he could just go out and do more things, right? He could just go out and do whatever he wanted and then come back to jail. I mean, hell, that's not a prison sentence. That's not a jail rip. If you just have to sleep there, that's an inconvenience is what it is. And he was treated like royalty. We talked about this the last time I did a video on this, but the stand down order, and that's all you could call it. There's a lot of truth to this too. The stand down order, the don't prosecute this guy order, the we're going to let this go order had to come from, the top. And this isn't something that you can, there's no way to just to think about this in any other way. This guy's a federal prosecutor, right? So his boss, if he's going to get that stand down order, it's going to come from either the president of the United States or the attorney general. Those are really the only two people that could make that order. Now, there's no way in hell they made the phone call, right? They had some lackey do it. But that kind of juice doesn't come from a lot of people within the Department of Justice. It would have come from the very top, which would be the attorney general. He sits over the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Prisons, or it would have had to come from the president. Either way, pretty damn disturbing. Yes, correct. The former prime minister, this is one of those things that's hard to say without sounding just, absolutely stupid. Pepperhead, good to see you. But Pepperhead, you heard me. Hi, coming. This is one of those things that you got to be careful saying, but every person that touched Virginia Giuffre victimized Virginia Giuffre. But the former prime minister was not like the others. The others were victimizing her because she was underage and she couldn't consent. This dude was a sadistic piece of see what I did there? Gosh. See what I did there? A sadistic piece of scat, right? A sadistic piece of badness. And this is the good news, right? Regardless of why, because this could be a false flag thing. It really could. And I don't mean that he didn't do it, but it's that don't look over here, right? With everything going on, taking out a prince is going to get a lot of people talking. Hell, I'm talking about it here, right? A lot of people are talking about it. He lost his title. He is no longer a prince. His wife has reverted back to her maiden name. They got kicked out of the $75 million lodge. Huevos calling something $75 million a lodge. You know what I mean? $75 million lodge he got kicked out of. He had a lease on it, right? And that lease is now gone, and he's out. It's or 75 rooms maybe. It was a 75-year lease. There's a crap load of rooms in this thing. Bunch of horses. Now he's gone. This guy spent a lot of time in the Middle East. He has a lot of connections all over the world. I could see him going somewhere that will not extradite him, because the more that the leaks come out, the more we see how he had conversations with Epstein. Phrases like, can't wait to get together and have fun again. That could be playing golf. That could be playing tennis. But if you're sending that to a guy that's already a convicted pedophile, that stinks. It smells really, really bad. And then you've got these people coming forward and saying things like, yeah, he asked me and he did it in an email, the genius. You talk about entitlement. This is a guy that didn't think he could get in trouble for any reason ever. I agree with this. I don't think that this is I don't think this is wrong necessarily. Stephanie says Prime Minister Ehud Barak. It's a pretty logical jump. Now, I'm not saying he did it, because that's the kind of things I did in the past. I'm not saying that he did it. I'm saying that he hung out with this dude 30 times. And I don't care what kind of business you're doing. Happy Sunday to you too, Tara. I don't care what kind of business you're working on. You don't have to fly halfway around the world for the purpose of sitting down to do business with somebody 30 times. Most of that stuff can be done by emails. It can be done on computer screens via Skype or Zoom style calls. Now you're going there to be a weirdo, and that's horrific, right? It really is. And then his response after Epstein got busted was, "Well, I didn't know the guy was a pedophile. Never even heard about that." Yeah, I mean, if you're a shopkeeper, you heard about that. If you used to run a country, I promise you heard about it. And I'm not being anti-Semitic or racist or anything else, but they tend to keep an eye on their own, right? Epstein was Jewish. I promise you, Ehud Barak knew what happened to Jeffrey Epstein instantly. For those that don't get this story, Jeffrey Epstein was the most eligible bachelor in New York. They actually wrote an article about that. This was a guy that ran in the circles of the unbelievably wealthy, and he was trying to collect people. He was trying to collect contacts, and he seemed to really want to chase clout. I would imagine that Andrew Mont can't even do it. I've been laughing all day about this. I'm sorry, people. Andrew, the former prince, had to be a jewel for somebody like that. All of the doors that man could open, and once you had a little dirt on him, and by all accounts, there's a lot of dirt on him. He was the war hero from the Falkland Islands. Yeah, you know what? And apparently during the Falkland Islands, while he was flying, these bullets flew so close to him that scared the crap out of him, Johnny Scoville. The adrenal gland went so hard to the paint that the man stopped sweating. Did you catch that?
Yep.
He stopped sweating. I'll bet you he's sweating his ass off right now, though.
Sweat that interview.
Boy, he's sweating now. But is the condo in Dubai owned by him or by the crown? Better be his, because he will not be able to hang out in anything that belongs to the crown. I'm not sure I believe that, Just Joan, and I'll tell you why. Allegedly. By the way, this is being reported all over the place. But his brother, the king, is giving him a little something on the side to take care of him for the move and for everything else. And, you know, maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe it's not. He was sweating in that interview, says Ashley G. Yeah, I agree with you. But I'm not sure who owns the condo in Dubai, but there are a lot of countries that would not be messed up to give this guy some property. There are still people all over the world that are clout chasers. There are still kingdoms around the world that would love to have a former prince living there. Right now, he is moving to a home that is owned by personally by the king. That is the truth. However, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is a guy that really digs being in the limelight, right? He likes going to funerals. He likes going to parties. He likes being a part of this. His identity. You know, it depends on who just passed. It's a great place to pick up chicks, though. If you didn't get that dig, then I apologize. I don't really mean it. I'm picking on someone else. So let's see here. He has been removed of all of his titles. Prince, you know, His Royal Highness, Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, Baron of, is that Killia? And all of his military ranks and patronages. Yeah, his military ranks are gone. Everything that he had is gone at this point. He can move to Bangkok and be the face of the sex tourism trade. You know what, Barbara Waite? He may be looking for work. But I see this guy going to someplace that's not going to extradite, because this isn't going to go away. And I'm not sure that this is fair by any stretch of the imagination, because, you know, again, there's a prime minister out there, whether it's Ehud Barak or somebody else, there's a prime minister out there that was pretty sadistic to a woman that killed herself, allegedly killed herself because of the things that were done to her. And the victim count for Epstein is up to 2,000, right? There's an awful lot of blame to go around, but I think that Andrew Montblanc Windsor is probably going to become the face of the Epstein thing. He needs to get to a place that doesn't extradite to the UK. Exactly. And if he's smart, he's going to get to one that doesn't extradite to the United States of America either.
You better not come here.
This is, don't let him come here. This is one of those situations where, I mean, when you start talking about false flags, I think, you know, that's a demonetizer right there. But you guys know what that is. It's when they put something out to get you to look in a different direction. It doesn't mean that what happened isn't real. This could very well be real. But the leak comes at a time where it's going to benefit people. It's going to get them to stop talking about whatever they were talking about. And I think that this, there's a chance that that is actually what's happening. But how much more juice would it be if the U.S. went someplace and brought him back? He probably needs to get to someplace that doesn't extradite to the U.K. or to the United States of America. That's just one guy's opinion. Hello, Relatable Reese. One question for you, hon. Who the hell's Luke? Sorry, let that one go. He is in more danger for the financial issues. I don't know. I don't know about that, actually. I think, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that there's a chance you're right. But I think probably where he really has got a lot of exposure is an email that has a woman's social security number in it. And he takes somebody that has been paid, right, to guard him and says, you need to go out there and research this girl and trash her. I think that's right now a lot of exposure legally on both sides of the pond. What he's done there is it's kind of a big deal. May not sound like it, but it's a very big deal. And I think there's a damn good chance that that exposure too could get him prosecuted. But I also think that we have seen the tip of the iceberg, right? If you're comfortable enough to send emails that say, here's her social, go investigate her. I understand that she does drugs and that she's got a record or whatever it is he said. When you're that comfortable, those aren't the only emails, right? Those are not the only emails. And who's ever leaking them seems to be, right? This This will be convenient if they can stretch it out for a while, because people like to talk about this. And the royals are. This is a tough time for the royal family, and I take no joy in that. They're still a family, but they could have got this guy under control a long time ago. But there are so many people within that realm. See what I did there? Within that realm that just looked in the opposite direction. If you got a guy marching 20 underage women in and out of his room to the point where everybody knows it's happening, how many people had an opportunity to blow the lid off of this? And this is the problem here, right? This is the big problem in a nutshell, is that his first response is not, I'll take some responsibility for what I did. And most people don't take responsibility for everything they did. They will say, I did a little of this, but I didn't do that, right? What he did was deny it all and then attack the victim publicly and privately. And this is what happens to all of these women. This is exactly the problem, right? It's that really rich dudes and apparently really rich women have the ability to victimize individuals. And when those people try to stand up for themselves, they roll over the top of them using power, money, influence. That's crappy. And that's the reason that I say I think Virginia Giuffre is a hero, no matter what happened to her. If she really did take her own life, or if they took her out, whatever it is, this posthumous book that she wrote, it has actually made something happen. And obviously justice would be for this person to get arrested. But regardless of what happens, she was able to take from this man that which he loved the most, which was the ability to be entitled at a level that no one else on the planet could wrap their brain around, including victimizing whoever he wants. Ghislaine abused them sexually as well. Absolutely. It's in the book. Ghislaine Maxwell absolutely was sexually victimizing all of these girls, or a lot of them, right? And there were girls there that didn't speak English. They had rules. Virginia talks about it. There were rules that they weren't allowed to communicate. But the last time that that Prince Andrew was, the last time that Virginia was trafficked to him, it wasn't just the two of them. There were a bunch of underage girls in the room, a lot of them not speaking English. And it makes you wonder about the Jean-Luc Brunel cat, because allegedly he was in the business of going and getting victims from parts of the world where they didn't speak the language and bringing them into this orbit. And this is a horror story. Can you imagine going somewhere where you didn't speak the language and then people do this to you? It's frightening. It was an orgy, correct? It really was. She couldn't be much of a mother with Charles and Anne, because of queen duties. She stepped back a bit with Andrew. Well, she apparently, this was her favorite. He was certainly the more handsome of the two. And there was a time that everybody seemed to love him, right as he came back from the battle in the Falklands. If you remember that 1980s, the war in the Falkland Islands, he came back a war hero with a bunch of crap on, pinned to his chest. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, though? Does it make you wonder if any of that's real? Does it make you wonder if anything that you ever hear about anybody rich was real? He was spoiled and gorgeous, says Ashley G. Angie Mo, just because. My favorite kind of super chats, by the way. I love the just because super chats. I really do. Thank you. Yeah, he was spoiled, and he seemed to get around, right? But he's the biggest idiot in the world. He does the interview and he says, you know what? That may be me in the photo. I believe that's me. I'm not sure it's my hand, right? Meaning that somebody photoshopped him in there. And then he said, I really didn't. I'm really not the kind of person that does public displays of affection. In fact, I really am kind of, I'm turned off by it, and it's not something that I do. I stopped counting. Johnny Scoble and I looked up pictures of this guy kissing women, grabbing women licking his face, like public displays of affection. And I don't know, we were at 40 or something. This is a guy that's super into public displays of affection. Sandwich that in with I don't sweat. I think this guy's in deep trouble. I really do. I think the world is going to call for something bad to happen to him. And I think he will end up in exile in a country that doesn't extradite. I don't think his brother is keen on throwing him in the, in prison. And I can't say I blame him. That would be a very difficult thing to do. But there's going to be a groundswell of people that are really pissed about this. And no matter how diligent the royal family is, I mean, they stripped this guy of almost everything. He still, however, is not removed from the succession to the throne. So in other words, enough of them get bumped off and this pederast could end up the king. Had no empathy for any of the victims. Him not sweating was ridiculous. Him not sweating was one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. Angie Mo, thank you so much. Especially while he's doing this, it's painfully obvious he's sweating. Literally. Like you can look at the guy and know that this is not going well for him. For him to come out and say, yeah, I don't sweat. And he doesn't sweat because his adrenal gland got so kicked on because he almost died that for a very long period of time he wasn't sweating.
Okay.
This is an old story. Family ignores unpleasant things done by their kids. God forgive me, I've done it. Everyone's done it to some degree. But this is a little different, Renee B. In my opinion, what this is, they didn't just look the other way. They fixed it. Every time this dude did something that should have landed him in the joint. Every time this guy, something bad happened. We know that the Epstein caper should have come out in an ABC interview, right? That hot mic moment where the woman said, you know what? I had it all. I even had the prince in there. The royal family is what shut that down. Allegedly. That's what the woman said. That pressure from the royal family is one of the reasons that this story got killed. And Ashley G, by all accounts, everybody believes this, that the queen is the one that paid Virginia. I'm not saying I doubt that in any way, but it's one of those things that everybody assumes is the truth. However, this guy made a lot of money. It's not hard to make money if you're going to countries to help set up commerce and you're just giving all of the contracts to friends and to yourself, through companies. And Ashley G said he's probably in more trouble for the financial ends of it. There's definitely a lot of exposure there. There really is. But I don't know enough about the UK and what that's going to be like for him over there. But I have a pretty good idea what it's going to be like with this Virginia Giuffre stuff. The more people that read this book and the fact that it started out with him, relinquishing just a title, and then it went to, all right, you're not even going to be the prince anymore. We're removing your birthright. That's heavy, man. That really is. That's heavy. And they're trying to do this, in my humble opinion, so that maybe he can dodge a bullet. Like, this has been enough punishment. We don't need to send him to prison. I don't think the world's going to put up with that. I think that we are at a time right now where the entire world is pissed off that rich and famous people get away with anything. This two-tier justice system, and it's not just in the United States, it's everywhere. It's disturbing to think that everybody knew that this guy was doing what he was doing. He needs to go to prison. I agree with you. And you read the book. So does Virginia Giuffre's father. That cat needs to go to prison too. There are people who say, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. She made that up. Who makes that up? I mean, honestly, that's just not something I don't buy that. I think that's probably, and I'll tell you something else. And this is, you can talk to people that work with people who have dealt with these kind of things in their life. But once somebody does this to you, there's something that happens to an individual, and predators seek out people that have already been preyed upon. And somehow they know who those people are. I'm not sure how that works, but I promise you it's the truth. And there's a bunch of books that have been written about it. The father should go to prison, and his friend, she was 7. I agree with you. In a perfect world, I'll pick the prison. All right, there's a couple I think that they would do just fine in. But this is one of those situations where I can't remember the last time the entire world was pissed off at the same thing, right? For real. People all over the world are up in arms about this scandal, and it's not going to go away. As much as the White House would like it to, as much as both parties would like it to, you got to know that if they were to kick open these files, there would be people throughout government that are going to appear in these in one way or another. Some of them were just taking cash from the guy. He was spreading out money as much as he possibly could. It looks like we may actually be reaching the tipping point on people getting passes for horrific acts. I agree with you. I think we're close. We may not be there right now, but I think it's going to happen, and I think this is going to be the issue. The last time we talked about this, I said 4 out of 5 Americans have said that they're following this and they're pissed, right? 80% of America can't agree on, whether or not water is good for you if you drink a lot of it. We're a country that doesn't agree on anything. So when you got 80% of people, this is really an issue, right? So I believe that this isn't going to go away. And if you read what Virginia, wrote and stuff she's talked about in interviews as well, there was absolutely a book. There was a book full of the victims because that's how Andrew picked her, right? Prince Andrew looked through a book of pictures of all of the people that that Epstein had in his, I don't know what you want to call it.
Menu?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it was a menu of victims is what it was. These were all of the people that he was holding and sex trafficking, and he had pictures of them. And Prince Andrew picked Virginia Giuffre out of that. How does someone without a college degree teach high school? It's an excellent question, and I'll tell you the answer. In my humble opinion, Bill Barr's father was the guy that gave him the job, and this is not normal. He didn't just get a degree teaching. He get a job teaching. He got a job without a degree teaching at the most prestigious school in New York. And he was teaching math. It's not like he was in there teaching, not to, bag on anybody that's, teaching physical education. But this guy wasn't a gym teacher. This guy was he was teaching freaking math without a degree. Now, if you get fired from that job, what are the odds you're going to land a job at the most prestigious trading house in all of New York? Everything about this sucks. Everything about this smells bad. It's a private school. If it's a private school or a charter school, they make up their own rules about who they hire. You're right. You're absolutely right. However, once it was found out, they didn't want to fire the guy for being a freak. And that's why they fired him by all accounts. He was going to parties with kids. He was doing all kinds of weird stuff. So allegedly, they said, well, we found out that he didn't actually have a degree, and that's why we let him go. And then gets picked up for a better job. And then he goes and sets up a Ponzi scheme, right? Walks with all the money while his co-defendant goes to prison for 25 years. Andrew even guessed her age. She was only a couple of years older than his daughters. Tell me that's not the creepiest thing you've ever heard. Right. If that's not the creepiest thing you've ever heard, it will do until the creepiest thing shows up. You follow me? That's just as ugly as it could possibly be. And yeah, the guy needs to go away. And there's going to be an outcry of this. I think the royal family is going to get backed into a wall. I think their first, back last month, their first foray into trying to appease everybody by stripping him of some titles didn't work, right? So they amped it up and they took away his birthright. I still don't think that's going to be enough. And they're at risk, in my opinion. If the people of Great Britain get angry enough, the monarchy in itself is going to be in jeopardy. And I think they're going to have to take some very seriously decisive action, right? They're going to have to do something to restore faith in this institution. And there's not much that they could do more than just go, you know what? I'm shipping my own brother off. Boy, oh boy. And I'll tell you what, Prince Andrew, the Andrew formerly known as Prince, came out and said that after discussing this with his brother, he was stepping up to the plate to do this because he didn't want what was going on in his life to damage the family.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, Andy. No, but here's the deal. If that's the truth, well, then go to prison, right? Restore faith in the monarchy. Go get your ass into jail and do your time. It's not going to happen, but the other thing, Ashley G, that I found absolutely ridiculous in that interview is when, they said you stayed at Epstein's house, you went to the island, you went to this place. He said, well, you know what? It was just sort of a convenient place to stay. Like he was looking into the U.S. and going, I'm going to pass on the Marriott. I don't think the Marriott would be a good call. I could probably go to the Four Seasons, or I could just stay at a pedophile's house. I'm go with the easiest. It's laughable. And the worst part of it is that you're so freaking entitled that you believe this might actually fly. Like when he went into that interview, the hubris to think you can walk into that interview and pull off lying to the entire world as badly as he did. Like, did this guy not have handlers? when he said, I don't sweat. They didn't tackle him and say, no, we're done. You can't print this. What the deuce? Why did Harry and Meghan get front row seats at the World Series, bumping legend Sandy Koufax? Who made that decision? There is no USA royalty. Yeah, we don't have royalty in the same sense. Athletes like that, like royalty. Right? He lived a fairly similar life in a lot of ways. Yeah, he went to see how much, you know what? Stephanie says he went to see how much trouble he was in after Epstein got caught. I assume you mean his trip to New York. By the way, somebody remind me in a minute, because I'm gonna circle back to Harry and his woman. So when he went to New York, I think he went there to sleep with kids again. I think that's what he went there for. And I think that Epstein set up him to get filmed or photographed. I think that was an Epstein plan. His handlers had abandoned him. His tie was even screwed up in that interview. It was a tough thing to watch, man. Not going to let it bother me. So here's the deal. If you happen to be a royal, there are certain things that are really important. Like somebody had left a comment. They wanted me to look into the Queen stealing some kids from Canada. And when I actually did the research on it, you cannot. It's the easiest thing in the world to research where the Queen is, right? Because she travels with an entire group of people that take pictures of her. She was there at the time that people claimed those kids disappeared, but she was not within 2,000 miles of where it happened. It's one of those urban myths that got traction. Yeah, I don't think that the sentence over there is going to make you happy if he does get prosecuted over there. Just from things I've seen on the internet, I think right now that's not the harshest place in the world to have this kind of crime, which is unfortunate. But so here back to Harry and Meghan. There's a problem with these two, and the problem is this: they decided they didn't want to have anything to do with the monarchy, except use their fame and the money to get some Netflix shows or whatever. And some good seats apparently at the World Series. But when they had their kids, there weren't pictures. They didn't do the normal things that people do. Horton Thistle, good to see you. When you have a child and you're a royal, they got to document the dog crap out of that, because that child and his lineage or her lineage is a very, very important thing, right? And right now, the royal family is researching both of their kids because they got no idea what's going on. And the stuff that Meghan and Harry turned over, there's problems with. There's dates that have been screwed up from one form to another. There's things that are written down, different, wrong doctors' names, all kinds of things that are making people go, huh. Wendy, good to see you. It's making people question whether or not they got the full story on this. And she's screaming, it's guys, I'm black, you guys are racist, and blah, blah, blah. No, it's because this royalty thing and the blood involved in it is kind of a big deal, right? And they didn't do any of the protocols that everybody else has done. Think about when a royal gives birth. I mean, we know how big they are. We know what time they came out. We know if they were happy or sad. How many times did the doctor slap them before they started breathing? Like this is the most documented kind of crap in the world, and they got nothing. The royal family knows nothing about the birth of these two kids, and it's causing a lot of trouble. That's just a damn shame there, Johnny Scoble. I don't know whether or not the woman can have birth, and I'm not going to jump on the. Her father claims she had a hysterectomy, and this is gonna gain traction, but they're not going to be able to dodge the bullet on getting investigated. They're absolutely going to investigate the hell out of these people. I hope Fergie, call me Duchess, goes down. Well, let's talk about Fergie real quick since we're here. Fergie's got some issues too. By all accounts, the people that have researched this and done it doggedly say that she borrowed a hell of a lot of money from Epstein. Several $1 million or pounds, rather, at least. That's not good. That's not good. And she borrowed money after the world knew that this guy was a freak. So right now, the royal family's in a world of hurt. And this groundswell of people that are pissed off by the rich taking advantage of women that are vulnerable because of their birthright is going to be something that will end up being the poster for this. She'll go to Hollywood to sell her story. The royal family have cut her loose. Yeah. I think she might go to Hollywood. I think that the royal family's probably terrified that could also happen with Andrew. Here's the thing, folks. These families, like any other family, right? I could tell you things about Johnny Scoville, right, that no one else would ever know. There's an awful lot, I would imagine, that the former Prince Andrew could say that would really damage the royals. And I would imagine they're scared crapless about this. This is a guy that could write a book. He knows where the bodies are buried. And that may be literal, I don't know, but figuratively for sure. He knows all of the dirt that happened in that family. And how much of it do you think got swept under the carpet? If this guy's going all over the world banging kids and not getting in trouble for it, how much stuff do you think that wasn't that nasty that he knows about? You can tell us. We won't tell a soul. Well played. Well played. Might not be popular, but I like Prince William and his wife. I don't have a problem with any of the royals. I really don't. Harry and Meghan are just disgusting. I'm sorry. But the royal family as a whole, I don't have a problem with that. I think that Prince Andrew is obviously a lowlife and the most entitled lowlife on planet Earth, for real, because he just thought that this was going to fly. He thought that he was going to get away with this. He would shut that person down because she comes from a poor family. Just throw a lot of money at some lawyers and some investigators and go scare the crap out of that girl from the wrong side of the tracks. Stephanie says Harry and Meghan are not royal. I tend to agree with you, but they sure do throw some titles at it. Hi, Tommy. I'm sorry I'm late. Well, thank you. This is your favorite color? Nice. Rocking the orange today. Andrew is truly entitled. There's a word that people get really kind of bent out of shape when you say, especially in the United States. In other parts of the world, it's said all of the time. Starts with a C, ends with a T. Not a very nice word. Apparently, that was his nickname among all of the people that worked in the palace and the people that worked security. They just called him that, right? That's kind of uncomfortable to realize that everyone just realized this guy was awful. They can't find anybody to say anything nice about him except that one wacko blonde woman who's always going on shows and going, he's not done a thing wrong. You know what I'm talking about? Absolutely frightening. She's a lady, apparently. So I think we're going to hear a hell of a lot more. There are a lot of people out there that kept their mouth shut because you just don't tell on royalty, right? There are people, I would imagine, that are protecting this guy because, these kind of people have always been protected. And it happens in the United States as well, right? Kennedy, by all accounts, was doing some pretty rowdy stuff in the White House, right? And so was his brother. And yes, thank you, Stephanie. She seems to be the only person left that probably doesn't think he's an ass. Everybody else seems to think he is, myself included. And he is going to become the face of this. Whether that's fair or not, think about it logically. I mean, what is the Epstein story about? It's about people that took advantage of folks because of their birth, because they didn't have a family that was going to protect them. By all accounts, they sought out people, right? Yeah, Ashley, they may be more powerful, but the royal family is kind of the top of the food chain when it comes to entitlement. For real, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but they're paid why? Right? Tax dollars cover them for what reason? Well, because they were born in the right place. Do you know that the marathon, Johnny Scoville, do you know why it is, 26 or 24?
Well, it was originally 20 when it happened, but now it's 26.2.
26.2. That 0.2 was because the royal family wanted the marathon to finish right next to their window. I'm not joking. You can look this up. You talk about entitlement? Yeah, we kind of want this marathon thing to happen, but screw them. They've already run 26 miles. What's another?
Brutal.
What's another 0.2? Right? People will stay quiet if they are paid enough money. Yeah, I think that there's some truth to that. But this is now getting to the type of thing where there might be more money coming out in the opposite direction, right? And it's also a scary time to be paying people off. To be paying folks off. Will this lead to questions surrounding Charles and his past friendship with Jimmy Savile? Good Lord. What a great question. Who asked that? Lori Lloyd, well played. God, let's hope so, right? Let's hope so. That's another cat that, by all accounts, a lot of people knew what a sicko Jimmy Savile was, and he still got knighted. I wonder what percentage of the UK citizenry would like the monarchy ended. The last thing that I read had it at 45%. That was the last, what do they call those things? Poll. The last poll that they did had it at about 45%. That's a hell of a lot of people, man. It's a lot of pissed off people, and I can't say that I blame them, right? I really can't say that I blame them. Ashley G says, Jimmy Savile was the lowest. I'm not trying to ruin anyone's night before they go to bed. I will end up doing a show on Jimmy Savile. A lot of people have asked me to do it. It's one of those things that as you start to research it, you'll grit your teeth through the entire. What's that? Where have you people been? I think most want Charles to abdicate to William. You know what? William seems to be trying to take the lead. That's probably a good thing. You're right, Nora. Sean Atwood has done some beautiful work on Jimmy Savile. Absolutely beautiful work on him. So many entitled people in the world, it's unacceptable. I choose to enjoy my small life. You know what? I made mine smaller and I've never been happier. For real. I keep shrinking it. And I know that I'm hurting feelings and I'm stepping on people's feelings or whatever. But the more I shrink my life, the happier I am. The more that I focus on the things that are important to me and nothing else. It really is. It's making me a happier and a safer human being. It really is. And I don't mean safer like somebody's going to bump me off. I mean safer as in I'm not doing anything that's going to cause me, a mental breakdown or cause my health to decline. And there have been plenty of times in my life where the stress that was brought on by what I've chosen to do with my life has threatened not only my serenity but my health and everything else. Start a YouTube channel, they said. Help people get sober, they said. No, for real. This is I'm now probably at the happiest place I can remember being, and that's. God, you can't take that lightly, can you? Now all I got to do is make sure that Squirrel Nut Zipper is that happy. Because apparently when she's not, Johnny Scogle will step in there and make her feel better. Low life. Yeah, she's cheating with my brother. My cat.
You're cheating with Katie. I saw you.
Katie jumped, just sort of sprung. Yeah, totally different videos. All right, people. I am going to be following this. This is something that I am absolutely. Stephanie, good for you. You did the same thing. You expatted. I like it. I really do. I've never been happier in my life. Although, as many of you know, when I'm actually in this room, it's in Boston. It was the other one that was in Boston. This is the Ecuador room, apparently. Boy, people crack me up, man. I made a short today, but it was too mean to post. I made a short with the backdrop that woman said, "Oh, you're in the U.S. now," and then I just opened the curtain. I was like, "Check that out. Our beer signs are in Spanish. Didn't see that coming." Right? Do you drink Pilsner in the U.S.? All right, people. Before I start getting wild and saying things that I love Boston too. Spent a lot of time there. Probably can't tell by my accent, but I grew up in the Northeast. I know I sound like I'm from Tennessee, but I spent a lot of time in the Northeast and a lot of friends in Boston. Spent a lot of time down there. I'm almost ashamed to admit it, but Southie. I'm kidding. It's a great part of the city. Great part of the city. But spent a lot of time there. All righty, people. Barella, glad you're here. I am going to cut this off for the evening, but I'm going to be following this one. I've been following Epstein for a long time. Like, this is a story that I've been talking about for a hot minute. But this is it's really what's the word I'm looking for? It warms my heart that Schadenfreude could be the word. But I'm just glad that Virginia Giuffre took this guy down. if it's the only thing that happened, this guy is no longer a prince. And I promise you, when people don't call him Prince, it's going to be like punching him in the stomach for the rest of his life. He is now just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Andy.
Or Randy Andy, as they call him, apparently. All right, people, between now and the next time I see you, I want you to do me a favor. Put a little love in your heart. And remember, you can unsubscribe anytime you want. But you can never leave. Wow, wow.